Alright, took a little break there, but I'm back to complete this recipe with the pork chops. Nothing's changed. I haven't done anything other than everything's still in the oven, other than my noodles up here. Now, with these noodles, what I like to do is I like to bed things up. And I'm not talking about how I used to do in the old days. What I'm talking about is I like to have a meat go with some sort of pasta or something that's going to actually work with it. Add something to it that you can't add to it. Not a seasoning or anything like that. Just something to accompany it that really helps it with its flavor and helps it with just overall looks, overall just that makes the dish complete. A lot of people think, oh, you have to throw this on there, this on there, this on there, this on there. It's not necessarily having 4 courses all piled on one plate. If it's done right, you can have something on a plate that doesn't look like a lot, but not everybody's going to eat all of it. So, what I'm doing is I'm letting these noodles, pretty well boil up good, and they are. They're boiling real nice right now. It won't take them much longer. The veggies are ready to come out, by the way. Looking at the clock. Absolutely. So we're going to take them out, and we'll see what we got here. Now, as I said earlier, worrying about the potatoes getting too crispy and all that. Well, they're not too crispy. As a matter of fact, I can put them back in. Yeah, we want them to go back in. The other veggies is cooked up really well. And I'll show you what we're going to do with this here shortly. Because we're pretty fun that way. So we're going to drop them back in. Now, just a little key thing about opening the oven up. If my oven doesn't have the window where you can click the light on and just take a peek in, so I do have to open it to check on things that's cooking. If you've got one that you can just turn the light on without opening the door, good, use it. Because anytime you open an oven door, the temperature drops 10 degrees in the oven automatically. So then it throws your cooking time off. Anytime you open the door, it goes down 10 degrees. If you got it set at 350, it goes down to 340 as soon as you open it. Even just for the shortest amount of time, that much heat escapes. That's why in the summer months it's hot inside. Person goes into the kitchen to check what's in the oven, they open it up. That's why it gets so hot in the house. It's not just the heat coming off the stove and the oven being closed up. When you open it, that heat escapes and stays in your kitchen. That's why people sweat, and then they sweat all over your food. Always keep an extra rag around to wipe your head off, to keep the sweat out of the food. Definitely, that's a big deal. Now, like I say, these are dishes you just keep an eye on, and it's not anything that, of course, you got to stay on top of it, but now is the time, like I say, that I would take to start putting things away. Get the big bad sink ready to, wash everything up and put away. And put your spices away and all that. Like the cutting board, we're done with it. We can always set it over there and be ready to wash it. All that good stuff. Well, that's not really good stuff. Now you can just tell by these noodles, as big and thick as they are, by stirring them you can tell how soft they're getting in the middles and how they're getting to the right point. Plus, we're also going to make them swell even more. We're going to cover them. A lot of people say, okay, I can cover them with the lid, that's going to have the same effect, that's going to do all this and that. Negative, Ghost Rider. That's not what you want. If you do that, this seeps out, the steam seeps out. The steam is what makes them swell. You don't want that. So they are ready to roll on that, and I'm going to show you a little secret. Alright, so first of all, we got a towel, clean towel. This is 1 cup measuring cup. We want to dig down. We don't want to get the noodles. Just dig down in there and soak up that pasta water. You want as much of that pasta water as you can get. I typically like to get a cup. If you get a little more, then it's going to spill out. If you get a little less, just depends. But you want that pasta water. Just set it off to the side. Now we're going to kill the heat on that up the stove eye. This one's cooled down enough now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our towel and we're going to go over top. What it does, it doesn't let all the steam out, but it lets it breathe a little bit, and it's going to make those noodles swell. So that's why I use a towel instead of a lid. That way, it just kind of keeps that steam down. And not only that, as the moisture from the steam gets on the towel, it goes back down and it keeps them nice and moist while they're swelling. Now, we check our time. Our pork chops, I'm going to give them another 3 minutes. That should be about right. Now, when it comes to my times, you can mess around with it. You can go with a higher heat. The only problem with a higher heat is you may get a little crispiness on them that you don't want. I like to go with a lower heat because even when you pull them out, a lot of people will say, okay, I like them well done, I like them medium, I like them medium rare. The rule of thumb is if you pull them out and they're medium rare, after setting for 5 minutes, they're still going to cook. You're going to get them to medium. If you want them well, you might as well pull them out medium well, and 5 minutes later they're going to be well, because those juices are still cooking in the middle. The outside is the big thing with pork chops. A lot of people will get them to where they are just, like I say, crispy, almost like you would wrap them in bacon or something. And that's just, when you think pork chop, that's not what you want. You don't want something that you have to, it's like one of those puppy treats you give to a dog and they have to gnaw on it in order to eat it. You don't want to do that. So yeah, I like mine medium rare, but my daughter doesn't like that, so we're going with medium today. Really, with pork chops, you can go either way. Just don't do them rare. I know a lot of people that does steaks rare, but you really don't want to do pork rare. A lot of people like theirs medium rare. I kind of do. I like my steaks that way. Pork chops, I like them tender. That's one of the main things, is tender. And with these, as thick as they were, they should come out really tender. Now, the seasoning, the reason that I used the brown sugar and the soy sauce and the sherry, I'm going to explain that to you. The sherry has this musky smell, musky taste to it, really a musky taste. And what it does is, especially with the peppers, where they have kind of a bite to them and almost like a pickled taste to it, you put that in there with that musky and it just brings the flavor completely to the top. And the onions, the same thing. It brings it to the top. With the butter in there mixing in and all that moving together on that pork chop, it's not just getting in the middle of the pork chop, it is getting on the top of that pork chop, and it's going to be awesome. The brown sugar and the soy sauce, that's where the Asian inspiration comes in at. I know a lot of people eat Asian food, whether it be Japanese, Chinese, whatever. That gives you kind of a sweet and sour part to it. The peppers, the sherry, the onions, kind of a sour mix there, along with the brown sugar and soy sauce, sweet and sour kind of, and just once it's all together on one flavor, then you've got some. So we let that go about 3 minutes. We should be right on top of it now. Yeah. I'm leaving the potatoes and the veggies in, hence why I work on the veggies first, because sometimes they'll throw a trick at you. You might have cooked them like this the last time and they got done before the pork chops. You might have cooked them, put them on last after the pork chops and they got done. You never know. It's just, sometimes with veggies, it's a different deal. Now the pork chops, as I said, will continue to cook for 5 minutes, which is a pretty good time for the veggies there. And it'll give me time to get my noodles prepped. Those peppers is cooked down really nice. The onions, they've done shrunk up. They got a good crisp to them actually. And that is good with onions. Whenever you get that little outside crisp on them, yeah, it's real good. And I'll show you, as far as the peppers go, what they look like and just how tender they are. These peppers are so tender and have such a great flavor to them. Now, that's like I say, they're very versatile. I know people's probably ordered pizzas and they'll put one in there with the pizza. And, you know, typically you would think, you know, Italian dishes. And they're great in Italian dishes, but they can be used in so much other things. I might come up with some more recipes to actually be able to use them in. Because I just really like them. They don't cost a fortune. And they're just different than what, you know, people get tired of green peppers and just all those other kinds of peppers, jalapenos and things like that, which with these, if you really like a kick, you can do jalapenos, but I don't think they have that kind of pop when you're going with the soy sauce and the brown sugar. I just don't think it has the same pop to it. So this kind of just mixes very well. Now, what I'm going with here, this is a special ingredient, and this is something I'm going to do on my videos pretty much all the time. I could tell you exactly what's in here, but maybe we'll just leave that to the imagination. This pertains to the noodles. Now, when you think of noodles, especially like these kind, you kind of think, oh, we're going to go with a sauce of some kind. You know, a duck sauce or, soy sauce. Or we can go with Worcestershire and stuff like that. But to me, I like the noodles to be to the point where, especially with this dry, it's not going to be dry once it's done. People's like, well, wait a second, you usually say the sauce will stick to the noodles. This is going to stick to the noodles, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You will definitely see what I'm talking about. Those noodles will be puffing up here, and we're just about ready to throw this together and plate it. Now, in my singing videos, I always used to hold up a cold Bud Light and say that that was my sponsor. But with my newfound sobriety, I'm going to hold up Brisk Lemon Iced Tea, my new sponsor. Now, that's good stuff. You can also cook with this. Maybe later on in another episode. I like it to drink too much rather than use it to cook with. Let's check your noodles. And when you do that and they're not sticking together, you are golden. So they're not sticking together. These things are rolling around in here like crazy. I don't have to tell you how to do this. You drain. Just heads up. You drain them. All right. Now, our special seasoning. I know some of you are going to be like, what in the world is in that? It's not as difficult as you think. I know it kind of resembles brown sugar, huh? It's not. There's no brown sugar in that. Now, we got that in. Our water that we set aside. And now we're going to go around and around and around. And that is going to make a little soup in the bottom. Just a little. And I can already smell the difference. Now, good to go there. All right, so next thing, plating. We're going to plate these, and before I go plating, I'd be remiss if I did not apologize to Mama, because I know these are your plates that you sent me food up here in. I washed them, meant to bring them back to you today. I'll wash them again and get them back to you tomorrow, so you can just refill them again so I don't have to cook tomorrow. Well, at least I tell the truth. Okay, things are rolling here. If you have any questions, like I say, when I post this online, if you have any questions, don't hesitate, just go ahead and ask. I know you're going to ask what the special ingredient is. As I said, you could probably figure it out. Especially people that's been in the kitchen with me before, they know certain ingredients that are my favorite that I like to use in just about everything. There's some things that, you know, chefs and cooks and people that are in the kitchen all the time, they are creatures of habit. If they find something that works, they tend to stick with that in just about anything they do. And that's how I do. So it's probably not that hard to find out. Okay. You hear that sizzling as soon as you open it. People's like, why didn't you just finish it on the stove? Because bacon keeps the juices in. Man, it holds it right in there. Oh, yep. Veggies done. Veggies are done. Now, with our veggies, as I said, with the pork chops, kind of a sweet and sour deal. And there's another thing that I'm going to show you with these veggies. I'm letting them cool for a second. But now we're going to plate. What we're going to do is we're going to go with our noodles first. Okay? The noodles. Right in the middle of the plate. There is a reason there is entrees and there are side dishes. Why do you think they call them sides? Because they go on the side of the entree. So when you're plating, you don't put your main course on the side of a plate. A lot of people like to go around. Your main goes in the middle. Just say. At least that's how I like to do it. Doesn't make it taste any different, but it makes it look different. Okay, so that goes right in the middle. Now, a chop. Right on top of the noodles. Now, I want to dig for one of those peppers, a couple of those peppers to throw on there. Because now, again, we're using the star here. So we're going to plate this up. And make it look nice. We don't want to overcrowd the plate, make it look all junky, make it look like stuff is spilling everywhere. We want it to look nice and good to go. And right like that. Now, on top like that. Okay. Grab some more of those vegetables off here. Noodles moving. Okay, now we can work with that. We just slide it in place. We want it to look really good there. Okay, now our veggies. What we're going to do here, and a lot of people would do things differently. I don't. I like to do it this way just because you can position things the way you want them rather than just clumping it down on the plate and trying to make it seem a certain way. I mean, some people get too meticulous with it. I don't. I like to make it look nice, but I'm not going to go like make paper umbrellas and stuff to stick in it and all that. It's the main thing is just when it goes on, and it looks good. So, when you get it on the plate, if it don't look right, fix it. You know, you don't have to. You don't have to say, "Well, that's good enough." Well, if you don't think it's good enough, fix it. You can make it look better and make it look like a star. Now that we've done that, we like the plate. You don't want a plate that looks dirty, worn out. Now the ingredients for this, I mean, I did use a lot of seasonings. This is one of the recipes that I do use. I use a lot more seasonings for this than most of the dishes I make. Obviously everybody knows it's salt and pepper. That's a given on anything. I honestly don't think you can go wrong with garlic on just about anything, especially when you're talking meats. I don't think you can go wrong with turmeric when you're talking meats. Now, not so much, as everybody knows, there's completely different seasonings for fish, for certain kinds of poultry. There's different kinds of deals. The reason I like pork chops, like I say, is because they're so versatile. They're so easy, and you can just do so much with them. And they go with anything. I mean, if a person wanted to, they could substitute some of these veggies for some broccoli, cauliflower, things like that, and it's just gonna fit perfect with a pork chop. A pork chop is just so versatile; it goes with anything. These veggies, I mean, you throw some cauliflower, broccoli in there with those carrots and things, and you're good to go. Now, I did the potatoes like that. Now I'm going to do something else because we got these other veggies left. And with them, we just get a little bit to go around the sides here. Just a little bit. There's a song there. Just a little bit. And plated. Now, why does a chef or cook want to go ahead and make their plate up first before they serve somebody else? What would be the reason for that? So they can taste it first, and it's common knowledge, taste everything. Because if you hand it to somebody, they give it a try before you do, then, and it tastes bad, then they're going to look and say, I'm never eating what he cooks again, or what she cooks again. So you definitely want to do the whole, I'm going to taste it first before anybody else does. So, taste test, and I'm going to show you as I pan down on it, or at least try to. This is the product. This is the fruits of my labor. And the second plate. So, when I cut into it, before I take a bite out of it, I'm going to show you exactly what we have here. As you see, I'm not having to saw that pork chop. It's coming right off. It came right off. Look how juicy in the middle. Juicy in the middle. Clearly cooked good. Taste test. That is unbelievable. Nice, juicy, just good flavor. You taste the sweetness, you taste the peppers. Just amazing. Really, really good. I hate to brag on myself, but that is good. If you're tasting what I'm tasting right now, you would know. The noodles. Complements the dish, doesn't overtake it with flavor. It doesn't overtake the flavor of it. It is just a good complement to it. The potatoes, nice and chewy, not crispy. Goes great with it. Alright, overall dish, good to go. Okay, I'm not for sure what this recipe is called, so I've got to give it a name. That sounds like fun, don't it? I'm going to give it a name. I think for this particular dish with the flavor and everything in it, and just the way it is, I'm going to call it, and I think this is pretty clever, Dwayne's Pork Chops. Yep, that's a good name. Alright folks, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can learn something. I hope you figured out basically what I do. This is the first video. There's going to be many more. And I hope you just really enjoyed it and give it a try. Let me know how it turns out if you do. And I'll see you on the next video. God bless you. Later.